Life often surprises us when we least expect it. Sometimes, a single decision, a strange proposal, or an unexpected encounter can change the entire course of our lives. And today, what you are about to hear is not just a story, it's an unforgettable journey of a single-father janitor who suddenly found himself in a situation he never imagined, when a millionaire woman looked into his tired eyes and said, "Pretend I'm your wife, and I'll give you $100,000. Before we dive into this incredible story, let me just say, if you love emotional, real-life inspired stories that touch the heart and make you believe in destiny, then you are in the right place. So, sit back, listen closely, and let's begin. The story starts with Daniel, a 40-year-old janitor who worked day and night in a corporate office building in the heart of the city. His life wasn't easy. He was a single father raising his little daughter, Lily, all by himself. His wife had passed away years ago after a long illness, and ever since then, Daniel had carried the weight of fatherhood on his tired shoulders. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise, prepared breakfast for Lily, dropped her at school, and then rushed to his job. Being a janitor was exhausting. The long hours of scrubbing floors, fixing broken toilets, and cleaning up after careless employees left him physically drained. But Daniel never complained. All he cared about was Lily's future. She was his entire world, his reason to keep going. Lily was a bright, sweet little girl of 8. She loved books and dreamed of becoming a doctor one day. But Daniel knew that dream came with a price he could never afford. His salary barely covered rent, food, and school supplies. Most nights, he would go to bed hungry just so Lily could eat. And yet, no matter how hard life was, he never let his daughter see his pain. For her, he always put on a smile. One Friday evening, as Daniel was mopping the marble floor of the office lobby, he noticed a woman standing near the glass doors. She was elegant, wearing a designer dress, with diamond earrings that sparkled under the chandelier. She looked out of place, too sophisticated for a random office building. Daniel assumed she was waiting for someone. But she wasn't. The woman, named Victoria, was a millionaire businesswoman, well known in the city's elite circles. She was the heir to a vast family fortune and managed one of the largest real estate companies in town. People admired her confidence, her beauty, and her power. But behind her polished smile, Victoria was hiding a secret that would bring her and Daniel together in the most unexpected way. She approached Daniel slowly, her heels clicking on the floor. He looked up, slightly embarrassed, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Excuse me," she said softly, "are you the janitor here?" Daniel nodded. "Yes, ma'am, can I help you?" Victoria studied him carefully. His uniform was old, his hands were rough, and his face carried the marks of struggle. But there was also something about him, a quiet strength, a sincerity that she rarely saw in the rich men she was surrounded by every day. She took a deep breath. What she was about to say sounded insane, even to herself. "I need you to do something for me," she said. "Something unusual." Daniel frowned. "Unusual? Like what?" Victoria hesitated for a moment, then leaned closer. Her voice was firm but almost desperate. "Pretend you're my husband. Just for one night, and I'll pay you $100,000. Daniel froze, staring at her in disbelief. He thought he misheard. "I'm sorry, what?" he asked. "I said," Victoria repeated, "pretend you're my husband. I'll explain everything later, but if you agree, you'll walk away with $100,000 in cash." Daniel almost laughed. This had to be a joke, or maybe she was testing him. Why on earth would a woman like her, a millionaire, beautiful and powerful, ask a janitor like him to be her husband? He shook his head. "Ma'am, I think you're mistaking me for someone else. I'm just a janitor. I can't play games like that." But Victoria wasn't joking. She grabbed his arm gently, her eyes filled with urgency. "Please, I'm serious. I wouldn't be asking you if it wasn't important. Just say yes. I promise, you'll never regret it." Daniel pulled his arm away, confused and suspicious. But deep down, the mention of $100,000 made his heart race. With that money, he could finally give Lily the life she deserved. He could move her to a better school, buy her proper clothes, maybe even start saving for college. But the idea of pretending to be someone's husband felt wrong, even humiliating. "What's the catch?" he asked carefully. Victoria exhaled slowly, realizing she owed him an explanation. "There's a family gathering tomorrow at my father's estate," she began. "He's very traditional, and he's been pressuring me to get married for years." He doesn't believe a woman can run the business without a husband by her side. So I told him I was married. But he demanded proof. He wants to meet my husband tomorrow. If I show up alone, he'll cut me off from the inheritance and hand everything to my cousins, who are just waiting for me to fail. I can't let that happen. Daniel blinked. So, you want me to be your fake husband? Just so your father believes you? Yes, she said firmly. It's just one night, dinner, a few conversations, that's it. Then you'll never have to see me again. And in return, I'll give you $100,000. The offer was insane. Daniel didn't know what to say. He looked at her expensive jewelry, her flawless appearance, and then at his worn-out shoes and calloused hands. They came from completely different worlds. How could he possibly pull this off? I don't know, he muttered. I don't belong in your world. I wouldn't even know how to act. Victoria smiled faintly. Don't worry about that, I'll handle everything. You just have to be yourself, but as my husband. Daniel stood in silence, his mind spinning. He thought about Lily, about the unpaid bills sitting on his kitchen table, about the times he had to say no to his daughter when she asked for something as simple as an ice cream. One night of pretending could change everything. Finally, he nodded. All right, I'll do it. Victoria's eyes lit up with relief. Thank you. You won't regret this. The next evening, Daniel found himself in a situation he could hardly believe. Victoria sent a car to pick him up and even arranged for him to be dressed in a tailored suit. When he looked in the mirror, he barely recognized himself. For the first time in years, he looked important. At the estate, the mansion towered over him, with chandeliers glowing through giant windows. Inside, guests in gowns and tuxedos filled the grand hall, sipping champagne and laughing politely. Daniel felt completely out of place, but Victoria slipped her arm through his and whispered, "Relax. Just follow my lead." As they entered, heads turned. Whispers spread across the room. Everyone was curious about the mysterious man by Victoria's side. Her father, a stern old man with sharp eyes, walked up to them. "So this is your husband?" he said, scanning Daniel from head to toe. "Yes, father," Victoria said smoothly. "This is Daniel." Daniel extended his hand nervously. "It's an honor to meet you, sir." Her father shook his hand firmly, but his eyes narrowed. "What do you do for a living, Daniel?" Daniel froze. He hadn't thought of a cover story. But Victoria squeezed his hand gently, signaling him to stay calm. "I run a small business," Daniel said carefully. "Nothing compared to your empire, but enough to keep us happy." The old man studied him, then slowly nodded. I see." Throughout the evening, Daniel played his part. He dined with Victoria's family, answered their questions, and even danced with her under the golden lights. Surprisingly, he found himself enjoying her company. She wasn't just a cold, rich woman, she was funny, intelligent, and even a little vulnerable. He began to see a side of her that no one else seemed to notice. By the end of the night, something strange happened. The act no longer felt like an act. When Victoria looked at him and smiled, Daniel felt something stir inside him, something he thought had died with his wife. And when the party was over, and Victoria whispered, "Thank you," as they walked to the car, he realized this experience had changed him in ways money never could. The next day, true to her word, Victoria handed him a check for $100,000. Daniel's hands trembled as he held it. This money meant freedom, security, and a future for Lily. But as he turned to leave, Victoria stopped him. "Daniel," she said softly, "last night, you were more than just a pretend husband. You made me feel safe, respected, cared for. Something I haven't felt in a long time. I don't know what this means, but maybe this doesn't have to end here." Daniel looked into her eyes. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to hope, to dream of a life beyond survival. Maybe fate had brought them together for a reason. And so, what began as a strange deal between a millionaire woman and a struggling janitor became the start of something far greater, something that neither money nor power could buy. Because sometimes, love finds us in the most unexpected ways. And this was only the beginning.